Hello everyone, we are from Group 8 and here we will do the presentation about the types of morphophonemic genes. So before we start our presentation, let us to introduce ourselves first. Starting from me, my name is Tika Tresna Ningsih. You can call me Tresna and my friends.
Hello, my name is Niwayan Siwani Dewi Desi. You can call me Siwani.
Alright, now you can see the table of the content. So on this presentation, we will do the explanation, the first about definition of morphophonemic chains, second is the types of morphophonemic chains, and the last is conclusion. Alright, so for the first material is definition of morphophonemic chains. Morphophonemic chains is a morpheme are clustered or grouped in a words that change in the phonological structures of these words occur. The term morphophonemic processes is derived from two words. They are morpheme and phoneme. The word morphophonemic refers variation in the form or morphemes because of the influent phonetics factor or the study of this variation. In morphophonemics, we basically study interaction between morphological and phonological processes and how they factors affect each other. Morphophonemic change usually occurs at morpheme boundaries and it involves sounds that are associated with separate phonemes. Next is the types of morphophonemic chains. There are 10 types of morphophonemic chains. First is loss of phonemes. Second, addition of phonemes. Third, simple consonant chains. 4, voicing and devoicing. 5, assimilation. 6, dissimilation. 7, synthesis or palatalization. 8 is change of syllabic vowel. 9, gradation. And the last is suppletion. Alright, the first is loss of phoneme. Loss of phonemes. This morphophonemic change brings about loss of one or more phonemes normally present in a morpheme or in its normal most frequent form. The word may be labeled as the normal allomorph of prefixal morpheme in. This particular allomorph can be found in combination with vowels or the following consonants, like in the consonant T, D, K, G, F, V, S, D, Z, and H. Normal allomorph example is inert, interpret, indirect, incorrect. Next, but when the allomorph in is found preceding morphemes beginning with the M, R, L in majority of case, and it transforms into E, this losing the phonemes. For example, in the word immoral, irregular, irrational, illegible, illegitimate, and innoxious. You can read the example. In the following example, the T is lost. In the word aristocrat, to be aristocrat, aristocracy. It's from the spelling is changed. And then democrat to be democracy. That is the spelling change. And then the word soft to be soften. Nest to be nested. That is lost in a speech but not in writing. And the next is the following example that a vowel is lost. In the word enemy to be enmity. Matri, matri to be matrix. Chilau to be celis. That's in speech and writing. Next is addition of phoneme. This process is opposite of previously mentioned. One, it's about phonemic addition. It's infrequent in English example in a solemn, in the word solemn, to be solemnized. The word and is added. And comparison paradigm long, longer, and the longest. Next is simple consonant change. Simple consonant change is the change of the final consonant. It's frequent in English. For example, in the word deride, derisive, extinct, extinguish, permit, permissive, commit, and commission. Next is voicing and devoicing. Voicing or sonorization and devoicing are changed, whereby consonant change its type of voicing from voiceless S, P, T, K, F, S to voiced B, D, G, P, Z, or vice versa due to influence of a phonological element in its phonological environment. The most common is a form of English plural, the default and generic as plural ending. Morpho-phonemic rule states that any S before a root final voiced segment turns it into a voiced counterpart Z, whilst any S before a root final devoiced segment generates a voiceless S. For example, in a word cat plus S to be cats, and the dog plus S be dogs. Next is assimilation. Assimilation is the process is very common in modern English. Very common in modern English, we can distinguish between so-called and complete assimilation. Partial assimilation is a prefix assimilated by the initial stem phoneme. For example, in a prefix in with the word possible to be impossible, in a prefix and with the word bitter to be imbitter, in a prefix and to with a power to be impower, and the prefix in with the word perfect to be imperfect. You can read the analysis. In the word impossible, in N is a dental, with the possible P is bilabial plosive. It's to be the assimilation to be impossible. That's M means bilabia plosive. And the next is complete the assimilation, a complete change of the final prefixal phoneme into a replica of the initial stem phoneme. For example, in a prefix in with word regular to be irregular, and prefix in with the word legal to be illegal, and the prefix in with the word legible to be illegible. This change is performed due to the principle of the less effort. Evolutionary language pressure towards pronunciation economy in a given phoneme context. However, there is a vast number of prefixal morphemes that are not changed in above manner, and they do not undergo assimilation, like in example below. In a prefix in with the word active to be inactive, in a prefix in with the word direct to be indirect, the prefix n with the word dear to be indear, and the word n with the in the prefix n with the word thrown to be enthroned. All right, that's all the explanation from me, and then the next material will be explained by my friends. Siwani, time is yours.
Alright, the next types is a dissimulation. The dissimulation is quite a rare change and it can be illustrated only with a difficulty. For example, in plus noble to become ignoble. Ignominious differs from Latin language. And we have synthesis or palatalization. The synthesis or palatalization is a function of two consonants brought together by morpheme combination into a single new morpheme, different from both its constituents, and it is very often in modern English moist plus your, express plus your, plus your. The combination of morphemes brings together an alveolar or velar consonant. Please next slide now. Alright, now we have change of syllabic vowel. The syllabic vowel becomes the carrier of the accent. This state of change is most prominent in strong or regular verbs. For the example, the word pitch to be taught, sting to be stung, ring to be rang. And then it can be found in other domains as well. Clear to clarity, long to lack, pleased to pleasant, precise to precisions. All right, next slide, please, Tina. The next stage is gradation. The gradation it is very frequent process where we can release to change a stress shift and vowel change. For the examples, courage to courageous, complex to complexity, symbol to symbolic, democrat to democracy. A stress shift occurs first and it is followed by a vowel change. And then for the analysis, we have courage, stress on first syllable enabling the short vowel. Cargos, courageous, and then the stress is shift to the second syllable and the short vowel is changed into a stra. Tina, please the next slide. All right, we have suppletion. Suppletion is a phonological similarity is not essential for morpheme membership. The essential requirements are semantic similarity and complementary chains in which allomorphs that differ rather significantly are in complementary distribution. The complementary distribution is the mutually exclusive relationship between two phonetically similar segments. It exists when one segment occurs in an environment where the other segment never occurs. For the following table, illustration system suppletion. And then, guys, you can read the example in the table. We have morphological process, made examples of suppletion and suppletive affix. Plus the next slide, Tina. All right. The following table illustration exists suppletion. You can read in the table. And then main example are semantically similar and they show high degree of phonological similarity. In the columns named suppletive stem, the last suffix cannot be described as a mild example. Therefore, we can only say that is substitutes or replace the normal from two, which is not phonologically similar. Inflection as stem plus AD. For example, you can see rub plus AD can to be rubbed and then played and take two. All right, please next slide, Tina. All right. The only way for describing this chain is by subtraction, and there are similar examples in many other languages. As you can see, the example in the table, the languages have Catalan, French, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish. And then the sources of these are four different Latin verbs. Adverb to advance, I read to go, ambulance to walk, or in some case perhaps ambitious to go around. This is the Spanish and Portuguese language, so you can see and you can read the word in the table. In the example for the table, we have the language for Montenegrin. And the adjective is zao, etymology, Proto-Slavic zao, and then comparison, bolzi or now bolzi. All right, Tina, this next slide.
All right, thanks for the explanation, Siwani. And that's all our explanation, the material about types of morphophonemic chains. And is the end of the presentation. So before we end the presentation, we will give the conclusion. And for the conclusion, for Siwani, would you mind to tell the conclusion of our material?
Yes, Tina. So for the conclusion, morphemes are clustered of grouped inward then chains in the phonological structures of these words occur. The term morpho-phonemic process is derived from two words. They are morpheme and phoneme. The word morpho-phonemic refers variation in the form of morphemes because of the influence phonetic factor or the study of this variation. There are 10 types of morphophonemic chains. That's a loss of phonemes, addition of phonemes, simple consonant chains, voicing and devoicing, Assimilation, dissimulation, synthesis or palatalization, change of syllable vowel, gradation, and suppletion. These changes contribute to the dynamic nature of language, allowing for easier articulation and helping with phonological rules. Understanding this process is essential for analyzing how words evolve over time and how they are structured in spoken and written forms. I think that's the conclusion. Time back to Tina. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Siwani. Okay, everyone. That's all about our presentation about the material type of morphophonemic chains. I'm sorry if there are any mistaken words that we have made, and then I'm sorry if there are any slowly word because the problem with the signal. Thank you for attention and watching this video, and goodbye.